Hey everybody, got back from the trail, and I thought I'd show you before I get into the video of how I plan for a trip. You can see my rain fly from this past weekend back there drying out. But you know, I do a couple different things. I have the guidebook, I have the trail maps, but the guidebook, the maps in there show about 3 to 5 mile sections. The trail maps are a little bit longer, but what I do is I took the pocket maps and photocopied them, and I pasted them up on my garage wall. So you can see the whole trail is posted up here, all the way from the south terminus at the Wild Valley Road up through Duluth, Two Harbors, Beaver Bay, Grand Marais, all the way up to the 270th degree outlook. So I think that helps me when I'm planning a trip, when I want to go, say, 30 miles, where I don't have to look at 4 different maps and try to figure out where I'm going to camp, where I'm going to get water, that sort of thing. It helps me to see it contiguous, as well as I want to hike the entire trail eventually. And you can see on the wall here, I've highlighted in orange where I've hiked. So this video you're going to see today, I'm hiking from Cramer Road up through Temperance River State Park up to Lutsen. So hope you enjoy the video. Back on the trail, Superior Hiking Trail, hiking 25.5 miles from Lutsen down to Cramer Road. It's the middle of October, slightly past peak colors. Probably about 45-50 degrees. Looking to have a good day. Little rain in the forecast tonight and tomorrow. So let's go. We're about 4 miles into the hike. Probably been out here for about 2 hours. You know, it's only about 50 degrees, but I had to take some clothes off because it was getting a little warm climbing up the hills. But you know, I first started out on the trail and all the leaves were gone, and I was like, uh-oh. It's still beautiful. It kind of reminded me when I used to go deer hunting. But a lot of yellows out here. And I can see that way. I think it's a lake, but you can kind of see, I don't know if the camera probably doesn't pick it up very good, but blue through the trees over there. So yellow and the blue and all the naked trees are pretty beautiful. And I haven't looked at my map since we've been out here, but I know there's a area up here called Christmas Tree something mountain. I don't know what. something Christmas tree, but I'm guessing there's a lot of pines, and I see that I'm coming up on an area with a lot of pine. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I'd show it to you. So you can see there's quite a diversity out here of landscapes, where I went from trees with no leaves to yellow leaves everywhere to now I'm in this pine area. So having a good time. Having a good time so far. Going about a little over 11 miles today. So I've got about 7 miles to go, which should take me less than probably 3.5 hours. So blue skies are coming out. It's been kind of overcast. Realized about half hour in, you know, there's always, just like any trip, you forget something. Forgot my sunglasses. But then I got to thinking about it, and if you look at most of my videos, I really don't wear my sunglasses that much. They stay on the top of my head. So, not a big deal. Plus it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So, some really blue skies over here. I'll wait till we clear out a little bit and show it to you. Okay, as you can see from my squint and lack of sunglasses, the sun has come out. And came to a nice opening here. Beautiful, beautiful looking over the lake, Lake Superior. A little bit of fall color still left. And I can't quite, I don't think this is a campsite. I think that's just a bench for the outlook here. But turning out to be a beautiful day. This looks like a good place for a snack. Let's eat. So how do I know where I'm going? Of course the trail is marked, but it's always good to have a map. I carry a compass. I don't think I've ever used the compass, luckily, but I carry it just in case. But Superior Hiking Trail Association has a guidebook, very nice guidebook, a lot of details of the whole trail, you know, the terrain, the sights, the animals, everything you can possibly think of. They also sell some pocket maps that are very detailed, a little bit bigger maps. It has larger sections of the trail, so you don't have to look at a bunch of littler maps in the book. So what I do is I actually scan in the maps and I create my own map, consolidate it all onto one sheet of paper. So that way you aren't carrying a book that can weigh a lot in your pack. And the pocket maps, and I mean, I sweat, it gets wet out here, you know, they're just paper, so they could fall apart. So what I do is I make my own map. I'll put one on the screen here. And as you can see from the map, it just shows the section that I am hiking. Lutsen down to Cook County 1. And then I highlight on my map the different points that are pointed out on the map as to if it's an overlook, if it's a campsite, if it's a creek, whatever. The map also shows where water is with my little blue smiley faces. Yellow smiley faces are where water's a little iffy. So, and it shows, and I put green triangles on there as far as where I plan to camp that night. So everybody does a little bit different, and I laminate this so you know, it can get wet, it can get dirty, it doesn't, you know, it won't fall apart. Plus I also put on my map here elevation profiles, so you don't get caught off guard when you're coming to a big hill and you kind of prepare yourself mentally for that. So anyway, it works for me. Everybody does it a little differently, but it's a beautiful day out here. It's kind of nice. It's a little cooler than my other hikes, which I gladly take. Of course, being the fall, it's not as much daylight, so I need to get on to the campsite before it gets dark. So we'll see you on the trail. Alright, I just made it to Springdale Creek campsite. I've been here for a couple hours, had some other hikers that came in. Let's join me tonight.
Let's trade pots. Is this one? I think yours cooks. Hold on. Fix it.
They are quite the gourmet chefs here. What are you guys making?
Right now, steak.
Steak, potatoes, and corn.
Steak, potatoes, and corn.
There, that is inside. Boiling.
Now I'm having, it really compares well with what they're having, the Mountain House spaghetti with meat sauce.
Black beans and rice.
Black beans and rice.
Oh. You gotta clean out some steak.
Beans. Oh. So I have my new cat food stove that I just made this week.
Are you serving some chicken on it?
Boiling right here. Have a little bread,
Yeah, tomatoes,
and peanut butter,
mushrooms.
and you can see the water from the creek is quite colorful.
Nice over having the
Hammocks over here with
What?
the rain fly. The guys are back there in their hammocks, and the ladies are over there in their tent. All right, it's about 8:30 in the morning, light rain. Everyone is packed up, other than the ladies over there. They're working on it. How'd you sleep last night?
Not terrible.
Not terrible.
That's so Minnesotan.
What was wrong?
Okay, I woke up to pee and my whole body went cold. I felt like I was gonna puke
It's called a hangover.
and I was dizzy, and so I had to bend down for a little bit, and I thought I got poisoned by the water, but then I got back in and I fell back asleep, so it wasn't too bad.
How are you? How'd you sleep?
Great.
And what's on the menu this morning?
We had coffee and the breakfast skillet,
Ooh,
complete with hash browns and scrambled eggs.
warm breakfast. Hash
Pork
browns
sausage.
and scrambled eggs.
Pork sausage, peppers, onion.
And he's got a little teriyaki beef jerky over there. I'm guessing that's creek water.
Yeah.
That or somebody peed in your pot this morning.
As long as we boil it, I think it's fine.
Hey, at least you got a piece of popping.
Oh, nice one. And for me, the Pop-Tart. Okay, back on the trail. Light rain, not too bad. It was real fun camping last night. I got in the campsite about 4 o'clock. Those 4 guys came in, probably 5 or so. And the 2 gals came in a little bit after that, but it's kind of fun meeting new people out here. The one gal was actually from Cottage Grove and is a runner, so I'll have to look out for her when I'm going around town now. But one nice thing about having my Pop-Tart in the morning is I can get going a little bit earlier than other people. I mean, those guys' breakfast is definitely going to be better than mine with their eggs and whatnot. But you know, when I'm out here, I don't really feel like in the morning to get out my stove and boil water and wait for it. And kind of like to hit the trail, because I find about 3 o'clock in the afternoon hiking seems to be harder than at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, but that's just me. Hike your own hike. And the rain's supposed to be stopping here shortly, but it's very muddy out here. So trying to navigate all the mud here is going to slow me down a little bit today. But you know, I just want to give another plug for trekking poles. Muddy conditions like this, it comes in real handy where when you're trying to balance on rocks going through mud, and you can test soil to see how soft it is. Other than, you know, it really helps out on your knees too. Going up hills, it's a nice handle. Going down, it stabilizes so you don't have as much weight on your knees. Plus, you know, it keeps your body, you know, your upper body kind of stretched out where it doesn't hurt on your shoulders as much. You know, you see people without trekking poles, and I used to do this, is, you know, where do you put your hands? You're like, look like a chicken. Okay? Some people say they want their hands free, but really, what are you going to do with them? If you have a trekking pole, even if you fall down, all you got to do is let go of it. So, anyway, here we go. So I summited Carlton Peak. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to see today. It's a little foggy. Kind of feels like I'm up in the clouds. People have always told me, get your head out of the clouds, but I don't think this is what they meant. There's some really cool big rock faces coming up the trail here, where I can see where some people probably come here and go rappelling. Saw a couple runners on the trail. Yikes, not a whole lot to see. This would be a good place to go climbing though. As you can see, it's quite foggy. Still kind of cool though. If you look down here, you can see down the rock face. I'm not getting any closer than that, or else it might be the end. So, alright, check that Carlton Peak off the bucket list, and on to our next adventure. Boy, I tell you, I'm walking along Carlton Peak here, and these rocks are pretty cool. Look at that. See up over here, trees growing on the side of the cliff. This is probably the coolest thing I've seen along the trail yet this trip. Very unique. Alright, I hiked my 11 miles a while back to the campsite that I was planning to camp at. And I thought about it for a little while. It's kind of wet out here, so I don't think I'm going to be able to build a campfire tonight. My feet kind of hurt. Kind of looking forward to church tomorrow, so kind of made an executive decision that I'm going to hike the last 4 miles that I was planning to do tomorrow and drive home tonight. You know, when you're by yourself, sometimes you can make decisions like that. But I know I'm going to regret this winter when I'm itching to come out here camping. But you know what? If you don't feel like camping, you don't feel like camping. So until I get that underquilt on my hammock, you know, I think the sleeping bag and the pad, I'm not liking that a whole lot. So I think once I get that underquilt, it's going to work out a lot better for me. So I stayed plenty warm. You know, I had tights on, sleeping bag zipped up to my waist, down coat on, plenty warm, but trying to stay on that pad and kind of wrestling around in the hammock last night. You know, I'd rather go grab a burger and go home and take a shower and sleep in my bed tonight. So anyway, I got probably another hour and a half here on the trail.